welcome back to another episode of Legal Lounge. We have the three of us on camera today. Thank you, Mario, for coming out behind the scenes to talk about today's episode. Today, we want to talk about, well, it was your guys' topic that you wanted to talk about, but we were kind of going through wrongful convictions earlier before we started filming, and one case in particular stood out in front of me, which many of you may know. It was 5 teenage kids that were wrongfully convicted of a crime of this jogger in New York. I guess it was known as Brooklyn 5, I think.
Don't forget the bell.
Oh, Central Park 5. Sorry, not Brooklyn 5. Central Park 5. So for those of you that don't know this case, it was a jogger out in Central Park where oh my God, I can't say that. Brutally assaulted and murdered. And they framed these 5 teenage Black and Hispanic kids. They confessed of the murder, which I don't know why they would do that, but I think it's part of interrogation, how police uses their tactic to wanting to basically clear the case and be done with it. But it turns out there was the DNA evidence, though, which is the crazy part. They had evidence, but I guess nobody confirmed to make sure it matched one of the 5 boys or even multiple of the 5 boys. So they were sent to prison. However, they found out that the person who actually did the killing belonged to a serial rapist, and they were able to overturn the convictions and they were freed. It's a famous movie out in... Yes.
That's what she's talking about. The DNA that they found
Yes.
was from a serial rapist.
Correct. So there's a movie out there. So based on this knowledge, I kind of want to go through and how we can tie into what we practice here. You know, we stress a lot on, hey, don't talk to the police. If you're getting questioned, make sure you have a lawyer present. That's a huge part. And I don't know the exact details of how it happened when those 5 teenage boys were charged of this crime, whether or not they had a lawyer present. But we wanted to talk about different interrogation tactics and how they use these techniques to...
New York, like was it from the Bronx or like?
Well, I don't know too much about the...
Don't forget the
Philly.
Don't forget the
Philly.
bell.
Let's go to bodega.
Hey, don't forget the bell.
I'm walking
Hey,
here.
let me get a chopped cheese.
No, but it happened in Central Park. So which is where? Like Brooklyn area? I don't know. It's not... I don't even know. I haven't...
It's
Manhattan.
A
Okay.
chopped cheese.
Hey, let me get a chopped cheese.
Can you turn it up just a minute? My man.
A chopped cheese.
Then we throw it on the grill.
Hello. Just a little bit more.
Let me get a chopped cheese.
Hello. Yep. Okay. So cue back in. All right. So yes, it happened in Manhattan.
Okay.
Huh?
That's where it happened, Manhattan.
Yes.
Okay.
Any thoughts? Why would you confess?
I just think like
What if it was like a two? Go ahead.
from like the investigator's point of view, like if you're like a detective, you have metrics, you have KPIs. So like,
Yeah.
no, I'm not kidding. You actually do. Like
I think
imagine
we've been talking too much of KPIs at work.
they evaluate you on how many like cases you solved. So I would imagine like if you like your job and you want to keep it, that way, being an investigator, because it's a cool job. I'm not gonna lie, I would love that to do that stuff.
I know somebody personally that is a detective.
Detective, yeah. And so you have to like convict, and if you need to like apply, because obviously a criminal comes in, they're gonna say, "Oh no, it wasn't me. I didn't do it." You start off with that, with every single like confession ever, every single interaction ever. So like, it gives you, I feel like you as the investigator, the opportunity in your mind to like go hard. And if the other side is a little kid, which after like hours and hours and just pressure, psychological pressure, I've seen videos where they're so in tune to like creating a dominant body language that will like make the person being interrogated, more open to, spilling out their guts.
It's usually
It's-
relaxed.
It's that type of stuff.
It's usually like this.
No, but they can apply pressure. Like, I've seen it. Like,
Well,
they
they
get
start
up to
off
you
like
and
this.
they look at you like this. Like, that's real pressure. Imagine you being a teenager, or
And then they'll hit one of these.
Yeah, and probably start getting closer and closer. I've seen even clips where they'll come around the chair. It will sit right in front of your face. You know what I mean? Not across the table. They'll just move,
It's
just
usually off of the corner. Like, let's say the exact position that you're in is facing the table. Like, I would just move my chair like this next to you.
But it is such a performance. You are doing things intentionally to psychologically break down a person and have them do something against their own interests, And I just feel like if you don't know what you're doing or if you're not there yet, that's why you confess to that type of stuff.
Let me
even
ask
though you didn't do
you
it.
let me ask you guys a question. Usually when you're offered a plea deal, they'll lessen your sentence, right? So maybe you're not facing a death penalty anymore. You're just maybe, I don't know, sentenced to life. Would you, knowing that usually happens and that is one of their tactics, is that you want them to plead guilty so there's no more investigation, there's no trial. Mind you, trial is really, really expensive, so they don't want to spend time finding a jury and collecting evidence and,
On both sides, it's
Right,
expensive.
exactly, right. So with that being said, is that a right thing to do, is to offer them like, well, if you just go ahead and confess, you'll get less sentence? Like, is that the right
Yes.
thing to do?
I think people accept that type of stuff just as like a lesser evil, even though they know that they didn't do anything.
But would you do that? Would you put your life on the line? Even if you know in your heart that you didn't do anything, you had nothing to do with it.
Oh, no.
I would put
And
it.
just remember, these are minority kids. And then this is back in late 80s where Rodney King, the police brutality, all of that was so much more present, to where that pressure of being a minority in front of the criminal justice, to where it's unfair, you would say, unjust.
But the whole New York, like there's so many minorities in New York.
Right.
That was the city that everybody migrated to and stuff, right?
Like,
It's just, my question is, do you think that's right for the state to offer that, just so you can just close the books?
Oh, for kids who may not know that they have a fighting chance.
they do it to anyone. If they
Maybe, but the kids aren't fighting this on their own too. You have to remember that they have parents and they probably have some type of representation too.
They probably don't have the enough education background to know that that's something that they could get, or even funds financially. How can you get a defense attorney?
But if it's a matter of right or wrong, I'm sure if the parent knows that their kid didn't do it, that they would still fight for it.
But
They
would
don't
they
need-
know, though? If it's your own child and you're like, oh my God, do I not know my own child? Like, why are they doing this crazy crime? It's like, do you believe your kid?
No, because kids do stuff behind their parents' backs all the time.
Right. So that's what I'm saying. Even if the parents might be involved, they're like, well, I guess my child made a mistake and now they have to pay for it. Instead of actually believing them to be like, yeah, no, my son didn't do this. I'm going to fight to make sure he doesn't.
I think 8 times out of 10 nowadays, parents will sit there and be like, oh, my son or my daughter would have never done this. 9 times out of 10, whenever you go look in some type of history, it's like, oh, well, it doesn't really look like they would have never done it when you find an Instagram post a couple months ago of them with
and then they do the
gun or
Netflix
something.
documentary and they say, no, I would have never imagined this from him. He was such a nice person.
Yeah.
That type of stuff, right?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Oh, yeah, go ahead.
No, I was going to go into the tactics a little bit more. I know you say you have a personal relation. Have that person tell you at all of what those techniques look like and how it actually works?
Not necessarily, but I can say that it's not necessarily accurate in the sense that, like you were just saying it. It's like,
Why?
because it's not as. I feel like it's too. The way that you're depicting it is too like they're just trying to get them to do something.
Is it not warfare though?
No,
I'm not
it's
talking about
not
every
because
detective
a lot
ever.
of the times. I mean, we're talking about modern day. I mean, this situation was back in the day, but what I'm speaking about is modern day. It's not it's not just to accuse somebody. It's actually mostly to get closure for the families. That's the goal. Is get closure for the families. The rest of the stuff is part of the system. The judge, the jury, and like getting all that stuff is part of the system. It's going to happen with their case or with somebody else's case. So that's not something that like it's
You're
more so
saying
for closure
you're
of the
saying that the
family.
confession is more for closure then? More so
Typically,
than
no. What their goal is to get closure for the families, to find out on what actually happened, despite it's what actually happened and how can I prove that this is what actually happened.
yeah, but
So in
they're
this
going for
sense,
a goal to find out the truth, right?
yeah, but it's not just to accuse somebody or just to get somebody to say something. Somebody could say something and be like, "Yeah, I did it," but they could just be covering for their homeboy that did it.
But
You know,
what
and that's
about
not true justice.
but what about like for example, I think the first thing that they do from the videos I've watched is they make you give them context. They make you like tell them what did you do between Tuesday and Thursday, the 20th of July and 23rd of July. So then, and you go into detail. You say, oh, I went to Mario's birthday party. Then I went to Cody's house at 9:30 p.m. I left there, had 2 beers. And then I did this, did that. And then they remember that. And then whenever they're like in a moment where they see that it would be beneficial to ask you a probing question, they directly antagonize you saying that, oh, but you said that you were at Mario's at 9:15 p.m. You understand what I'm saying? Like all of that, the first initial chit chat is just set up
Well,
for catching you.
we're also like referencing. We're also like talking about something that's like we have the pre what is it called whenever you already have like you already have a pre-existing like understanding of like these interrogation videos. We also have to remember the types of like cases that these
Of
interrogation
course,
videos are
of
very
course.
like they're very black and white. They're very
Yes.
like this person like school, you know, somebody who does bad things in a school, you know, somebody who did a some type of murder, some type of gang affiliation, is typically videos like those. But if we're talking about a case like this is a much different. There's like a whole different perspective, right? Because now you have the different variables of you have multiple different people that could have either done the act or been associated with the act, and then you even have evidence of some other DNA that got involved later on. So it's like so complicated. But to go into like this type of discussion with like the understand like with the mindset that these people are just like pressure, attack. It's not always the case, and most of the time it's not. I just feel like those videos that we do watch are very emphasized on specific cases like that, where it is a black and white case, where it is trying to catch them messed up because they do already know and they do already have the surveillance videos, but now they're just trying to get that confession because they actually do have the facts, and it's very obvious, not only because of what they have, but because of the experience that that person or that department may have over the past.
So
It's like,
maybe just giving a little bit of effect, which Alex, maybe you may want to fact check us a little bit, but maybe sometimes in a case of they legit have no idea who
but
could have
but
done this.
But
So
I do want to say real quick that you are right in the sense that there's always going to be that like small majority of people where they are very condescending and they do pressure, right? And I can a
I
hundred
think it's your
percent.
job. I
I
think
don't. But
that's what you have to do,
but
to
part
be
of
successful at that job.
but part of that job is it's not just antagonizing and like
No, not
over,
that. I think
not
that's a
like
bad word. It's
manipulating,
just
but more so your job is to like break down their mind in the sense that where you understand what type of person they are, how they respond, how their mind thinks, and then how you can basically get them to tell you what actually happened. And if you can confirm, because somebody who didn't do a
But
crime
how do you get
is going to
there?
have all of those information, all of those things to the T. But somebody who did do the crime, there's going to be bumps and bruises. They're going to have places where they slip up. And that's where the interrogation part comes into play, is now that because these people are psychologically trained, right? So they understand the body language, the small little like micro mechanisms or like things that they do. They understand completely, and they're trained to understand or to know or to see how or when people could be lying. And then from there, it is their job to figure out. Well, I can't speak for their job because the person's never necessarily told me that, but I have like, I guess, had like an understanding of this person being sent to like some type of training and like what they kind of teach you in there. It's really not. It's really not like all that. It's like the simplest form that I could put it is it's kind of similar to where like cops are all trained. Most of the cops, when it comes to certain departments, stuff like that, there's only, they all come from the same program, right? Everybody goes through the cadet academy and stuff, right? They teach you everything in there, right? But it's how you apply it. I feel like that type of mindset is super similar to like, most cops probably aren't bad, but it's the bad ones that make the majority of people make the cops look bad, So it's like you get trained a specific way, but how you use it is one thing too. Um, and I know that for the most part, like the most satisfying thing is, and the goal is to, provide justice and to provide comfort to the families and the victims' families and the people who are affected from it. But there is moments I feel like where, it could be where it could be a child. But it's like, how do you, from their perspective, it's like you may have experience with one child who actually did murder his family and he did try to lie about it. And then you have another child that was like accused of something and it may look the same, So it's like, I just want to like put that out there as like oftentimes, I think it's depicted in a certain type of way just for the like entertainment purposes. But from a case like this, it's like I'm on the perspective of like, how can you not fact check this stuff? Like, how can you not verify? How did y'all just skip over something like this to where years later y'all find DNA evidence of
Can
somebody else?
you grab their confession and what they say and how come they didn't speak up?
But like,
If they didn't speak up, yeah, like why they were put in prison, because supposedly they confessed and they were able, but they overturned it because the DNA evidence
but
didn't
then
match
it's like,
to what.
why would they confess?
That's what I'm
Because I know
saying.
they had attorneys. If it was such a popular case, of course they're gonna have attorneys.
But like, okay, if you're a detective and you don't have nothing else, like this case, right? You have nothing else. It's the 80s. CCTV, if it even there was, it was grainy, 100%. DNA, you had it. You didn't even care to check it. It's because you only need a confession. A confession is sufficient to put you away. So I feel like detectives like go hard on that because that's the only thing that they need. Okay, they declare.
You're
Okay,
talking about the 80s though.
yeah, but I think
Nowadays it's way different.
I mean, if you declare guilty, if you say that you did it, then I don't think the
Can
state is
you
gonna
also
put up
pull up a
such a fight.
statistic of
It can be like,
what
okay,
percentage
all right.
That's
of
not
crimes are
So what
true.
happens?
Think of
wrongfully
like gang
convicted?
affiliation type of crimes.
Okay.
People all day long nowadays, all day long, take the crimes for something that they didn't do and is really just their homeboy. Oh yeah, my
So you don't think they
my
would be
friend
sent
took the
up to
blame.
jail for that?
No,
If
they
they're
do.
if
They
they
do.
convince the investigator,
They do, but
they
they
convince they convince the state attorney.
they always try to get everybody.
Of course,
That's my
of
point.
course,
Is
but I think that's a
if they
separate like animal.
if they can only get one, if this person's just gonna take the blame for something and they can't get through this person, they can't find any evidence on the other people that are affiliated, of course they're just gonna take the person. Yeah, they're gonna get that conviction, they're gonna go. Because at least that's something, you know? But because
But that's
a
what I'm saying.
common
Like the
thing.
confession is enough to put you away. So that's
Well,
why.
yeah, I mean, you're telling I mean, what person in the right mind is gonna sit there and be like, "Yes, I did it,"
That's what
whenever
I'm saying. So
you didn't have any
investigators
wrongdoing
go
in it?
hard on that because that's the only thing that they need.
Do you have the confessions?
So they like they boys didn't know each other before they got brought to the police
Did not know
station.
each
They
other.
didn't know each other.
That's crazy.
And they're 14 and 15, and the cops basically said, "We'll let you off easy if you help us build a case against the other boys, placing them at the crime scene, and then we're able to convict them that way."
See,
See, I mean, that's.
but you
I
don't
feel
think
like
that's
that's a
manipulation?
No, I think that's a reasonable tactic. Like, I legitimately think it's a reasonable tactic. In the sense that, like,
But they would. All of them were
one
innocent.
one person. Oh, I mean,
You
how
that
do
I
you
feel
know?
like that's coercion.
How do you
That's
know?
coercion.
How do you know they were innocent? What if they worked along with somebody that did it?
Is there
But
any
that's not
connection to
finding
the
the truth.
actual person? There's no connection. That's what I'm saying. The actual person who killed that jogger they had no connection to
How
those
do you know
five.
the actual person was the one that killed it? Because their DNA was there?
Well, the person was raped also, so they matched that.
But doing that action, you're coercing the kids to say that these other kids did it and help us build a case, so lie, and we'll let you off easy. That's that's coercion
The
to
kids
me.
said that they did it. The kids said that they had a part to play in it.
Just so they can be let off easy, though.
So the cops went to these group of kids and said, say that these three kids right here say that they were there and they're the ones that did it, and we'll let you go.
Which that didn't happen, right? All five were sentenced or no?
So 4 of the 5 boys falsely confessed, and I think all 5 went to prison.
But that's what I'm saying. That's crazy. I think
I
this
feel
is.
like it should still be in like an open case.
I think this is more of like a corruption issue, more than like a wrongfully convicted issue. Do you have the statistics on how many crimes are wrongfully convicted each year?
It says between 1 and 4%.
Of how many crimes are committed in America in a
And
year?
this is specifically violent crimes,
Let's say,
like murder, assault, those.
how many of those are there? Because I'm trying to understand what's
Assaults.
1% of that.
Assault's really bad with that stuff.
How many violent crimes are there in America in a year?
In domestic violence cases, it happens a lot. Super common. That's why it's super important for the cops to like.
But
really get to
sometimes
the
a lot
under
of
the
those
end.
don't get sentenced, though. They'll drop the case a lot of the times. Because either the wife or the girlfriend wants to
difficult,
drop the
bro.
case.
1.2
Those are
million.
like super.
So what's 1% of 1.2 million? 10K? So 10,000
Prisoners are there and they didn't do the
wrongfully
crime.
convicted, and that's the low end.
Yeah.
So it could be as high as 40,000 people, 40,000 lives ruined.
That's a lot.
Yikes, imagine being one of those.
Well, think about how many they get right too, though.
No, I'm not saying that.
I think it's like part of like the justice. I think those are like one of those things where it's like you see the justice system and you're like,
That's
it's
why
broken.
that's
but it's
why
like, how do you even get everything like right all the time?
right.
Though?
That's
Like,
why I
there's
almost
huge
don't like
problems.
the whole trade-off thing, the plea deal thing, you know? Because you just want to close the case
But
and
in
not
their
really
position,
put in.
why they should have done better? But I think I can understand where they were going with it, given their circumstance.
Mhm.
Because when did they
Not
have
enough resources?
When
But
did
they're
they
asking
100%,
some kids to lie.
100%? But they didn't ask them to lie.
Well, yeah, they basically
They
said
asked
that
them to
these 3 were
confess.
there.
No, they asked these 2 kids to say that these 3 other kids were there and that they're the ones that did it. If that didn't happen, obviously the kids were asked to lie because
So I think the problem
they obviously didn't see them.
I think the problem comes from giving so much power to one child. I think that's where the problem was. I don't think the problem is the strategy. I think because they're using the kid to try and fact check the other.
I think it's all wrong.
I
All
think it's
around wrong.
just I think it's
They're
just
using
coercion.
They're using the kid to try and basically fact check and verify that the other kids were there.
Yeah.
But what if the kid that they asked just lied. He just,
Right.
but that's what I'm saying is, what if that kid was just like, yeah, they were there, and those kids were never there.
Right. That's what
That's what
happened.
That's what happened. And there, it says like
So
it
that
talked
kid,
about their clothes, and their clothes descriptions were not correct.
so that kid told and got the other kids locked up.
Mm-hmm.
And they did that for all of them.
And
They
that
basically use that as like a witness testimony.
Yes, that's what I'm
Fabricated
saying.
witness.
That's what I'm saying is they used him as evidence. I get like the mind behind it, but there's such a big hole in that to where it's like, yeah, but what if that kid was never
But
even?
how this other three came in about in the light of in their faces? Like why those three? Why did they want to point to them three?
Because they were
I guess
probably,
they were in the neighborhood, riding around
they
the
might have,
bicycle.
yeah.
So this is the whole
picked
I
them
like
up.
we're talking about New York here,
Right.
So we're talking about minorities. We're talking about a bunch of different cultures all in one little area. We're talking about, one of the most lively, neighborhood lifestyles in America.
So if you were lawmakers, if you were to change one thing
Ooh.
in the criminal law justice system, what would it be?
For an interrogation, you have to have a lawyer present. No excuse.
No matter what, they don't do it by themselves.
If you did it by default, it should be by default. And if you don't want it, you don't want it. Because if you did it, they're still gonna catch you.
Wait, but you say if you don't want it, you don't want it. So you're
like you can wait. Like you can say to the attorney, leave the interrogation room if you don't want an attorney there. But there should be one there.
You're gonna be
By
present no matter
default.
what,
By default.
without even asking.
Yeah, I think so. I think that would be fair. And if you did it, you still got caught on CCTV. There's still DNA. You're still gonna get caught.
Less people
you
would
still
get
did it.
charged for things they actually did with that change.
Okay, so that's an interesting question. So
It is an interesting question. It's
what
both,
do you
it
wanna-
goes both ways. Yeah.
what do you want to sacrifice? One is what's
Good.
more valuable to you?
Good or bad people?
Catching 100 criminals or sending 5 innocent people to jail? What
But you almost don't want.
That's a good question.
you see?
No, I saw that.
What's more
I'm
valuable
going- I'm
what's
going with the
fair
bad-
to society?
I'm going with the bad people.
But you almost don't want
What would
because
you
even
choose?
if
Wow, dude, imagine
gonna
being
get
one of
judged
those
for
5
that.
people.
even
I mean,
though
I feel
you know?
even though you did it right, well, you hear cases all the time. It's like, for instance, Diddy, right? I don't know has he gotten through sentencing? I don't know.
10
I'm not
years, I think.
really,
Don't quote me. 10
but
years.
I think well, I don't want to get too much into it,
I
but
don't
I'm
know.
just saying like,
Would you choose the good people or the bad people?
but that's what I'm saying.
I want to know
The-
y'all's answers because
the
I don't want to be the only one
high-end-
who answers
High-end
that.
attorneys were gonna make sure you're gonna get off, right? That's their end goal, is to make sure you don't serve time, or if you do serve time, at the very minimal possible. But if you actually did it and you're this horrible, evil person, if an attorney is gonna be present every single time in the interrogation room, that's gonna leave less evidence on the table for the DA to convict you or to even press charges to begin with. So
Which means a lot. Yes.
I see.
So it's like,
I
what would
see
you
what you're saying.
choose?
Right. And then based on the statistics, right? What, 99% is actually did the crime and they were locked up correctly?
So what's okay? So that's why we asked the question: what is more valuable?
So you interrogate, you're in the presence of 10 interrogation. 9 of them are right.
Mm-hmm.
So are you going to say that the tactics are
But then
incorrect?
what if their
for the other 9?
dismissal rate, Haley's dismissal rate, right? Like 70, 80%, 85% or whatever, she's going to get 8 people off.
Haley's our criminal law
Okay,
attorney.
but
for
listen,
people that
just
don't know.
because you have an
But then
attorney
you let
there,
those 8 guys that who actually did the
Ooh,
crime
yes.
go
Karen's
back into the
I could be
street.
in the middle
Karen's
of
a
it now.
Right?
Yes.
but there is physical evidence too. Just because you have an attorney there,
I
just
get you,
don't
but
mean-
interrogation is the very first step so they can charge you with the crime.
True.
You're not necessarily charged with a crime when you're in front of the police. You can go
I
home for
know,
that night.
But I'm sure Diddy had superstar attorneys, considering that he only got 10 years for everything that he did. That lawyer had a Allen Iverson performance. Like, he killed
Allen
it.
Iverson? That's
He
an awesome
killed
reference.
it, bro. Like 10 years for Diddy, that's like, you're a star. You're a rock star, dude. and he still got convicted.
He still
Like,
got charged.
They still gonna get you because there's
But what would you
physical
rather
evidence.
have? Somebody evil like that has done, and we all know he's done some crazy stuff, and then he only got 10 years? How is that justice to the victim? How is that justice for
For
Cassie
me,
or whoever else
No,
that
it's
were
not justice.
involved?
Well, that's
You
an
know?
interesting point.
Oh
but
my gosh.
for our question,
I
for
thought,
me,
I thought it was like the
let's say I let
denominator here, but you actually.
one innocent person go instead of catching 10 bad guys, I would 100%.
So who's going to catch the other
Always.
10
They're gonna
guys?
commit
Yeah, but what
crimes
about
again.
the
They're
10?
They,
what about
they,
the 10 bad guys
they-
that murdered 10 people?
They gonna
each?
get their karma. They gonna get themselves. Justice will find them because the wicked will find.
But with your
Their
law
punishment.
It's
change,
not always true.
But I know.
it
but-
may not be as high.
But for me, it's much more valuable the life of an innocent person than 10. Than catching
I
10
think you're
bad
thinking
guys.
it too topical. The people that get released, imagine how many other lives those people are going to affect because they're
But
released.
I don't think.
And they're
I don't
going
think it's
to-
gonna make that much of a difference.
And they're going to redo their, trust me,
Imagine how many innocent people those people are going to mess up. They murder one guy, and the amount of people that those people that's going to affect, the family, the friends, the possibly kids. You had to remember, like, there's people in our DA system. There's people in our system right now that the DA released over and over and over from the crimes that they did, and ended up doing something that murdered a child.
look at Tim
That
Bundy.
guy got released like
Okay.
multiple times.
Since y'all are on the other side, let me put y'all this thought example. There is this thing called the trolley problem. Have you all ever heard about it?
No.
Okay, let's say you're on a train track. You're on a train track. It goes, the train track splits left and right. On the left side of the train, there's, let's say there's 10 people, random people in the world. You don't know about them, right? Let's say on the right side, you have 9 people, you don't know about them. The random ass people. Hold on. They're like stuck to the tracks.
Tied to the tracks.
The train, if you don't touch you have a lever, which if you pull, it's going to go to the right.
Yeah.
But you're going to be responsible directly for the death of those 9 people.
All right.
So there's a train coming in. Woo, choo choo. Okay. Here we go.
Make that as a sound.
Soundboard
Would you
it.
pull the lever
Yes.
and directly kill
Yes.
9 people
Yes.
What about, wait,
to
hold
save
on.
the 10?
Yes.
Oh, because you're saying because it's less people. Is that what
Yes.
you're saying?
Yeah, I mean, would you take that decision?
You have one choice.
Now
to
it's
make.
on-
I feel like it's the same impact no matter which way you go.
No, because
Either
People
way,
are gonna be
people
mad,
die. How do you?
right.
The only variable.
Exactly.
so what
is
would
how
you
many-
do?
How many
It's- I
people
don't
could you
care.
save?
If there's no
You have to
other
do something.
option,
The 9. 100%.
You're just not going to
Sure.
do nothing?
sure. I mean, if you choose nothing, then nothing's going to go anywhere. But if it's one less is better than...
Wait. You don't choose. Wait. If you choose nothing, the 10 people die.
Correct.
So
Oh, I
choose the
see.
9.
So you would pull the lever, save the 10 people?
Yeah. But I don't think my feeling
Okay.
would change
Okay.
aftermath.
Now,
And
what if
this is
there's-
a trap question.
let
There's
okay,
a
let's switch it
follow-up.
around. What if it's on the left side, instead of 10 people, it's 5 grandparents. And now on the right side, it's 2 babies.
2 babies.
No, grandparent.
No, 2 babies.
Grandparent.
You always save the children.
Oh,
It's
that's
always
what I
gonna be
mean.
the children. Yeah, the grandparents die.
Yes, that
The
means...
babies get
right.
saved. You always
Me
choose the
too.
children.
Right.
It's like who
They
would
have a
you
lot
choose?
more
But you're
life to
killing
live.
5 people
But you're
to
saving
save 2 babies?
5 people at the and it sounds terrible, but they're at the end of their lives, and I'm almost certain that elderly people would probably choose themselves for the children to be saved.
All right.
Why? What
Y'all
was
have it
the-
clear. Y'all don't have
So what's the problem?
That was
You
a good.
saying
That was a good one.
I mean,
you saying a trolley?
it's
No,
a
he was
it's a
trying to
it's a
use
life
the-
worth more because of the age.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Yeah, he was
or a
trying to-
number
That's
of
it?
people.
the number.
Do
of
we
it.
make that determination? Last one. Okay.
So let's talk. Wait, hold on, real quick. Can I just put? Let me just input something in here. Let's talk about how respect to the people that actually have to make these decisions, and the people that
the trolley people?
No, the people, the lawmakers that actually have to sit there and like make these decisions, like how you're saying, who's it up to say what life is worth what? The people that had to make these decisions and send these people to jail and make these calls, yeah, it takes a lot of work, bro. To own that and to make those decisions and to like do those things, it is all on them, and they do have to steer that train. There are people like that in this world, and they do make those choices, and that's why I think it's so easy for me to like sit there and choose that, because there are people that do that, and there are people that make those decisions, and I understand why they make the decisions. That's why it was so easy for me to answer like the elderly. Like, I get the number is more because you set it up first. The first question was, okay, the only variable in difference was, are you going to be saving one more life? And then the second one was, okay, well, if that has to do with numbers, now what would you do in the sense of age? So now you included another variable in there, but now it the numbers is irrelevant, and now you're going based off of age. So that's why I'm like, you always choose the youth. It's like, would you choose to save a dog or a baby? You're going to choose the baby, right? Because human over other forms of life, right? But it seems like it gets more specific. Now you have human. Okay, what about elderly human or a young human? Which one are you going to save? It would be the young human, I feel like, for
Why don't
most
I give you
people.
the last one and see what you think?
I feel like these are trick
Okay.
questions.
Left side, 10-year-old girl. Right side, your partner. Your partner. I don't want to put out
10-year-old
old.
girl,
Yes, I want to put out how
Wait, you'll
old is your
save
partner.
the 10-year-old girl?
probably. It would be a hard decision, but I'm saving the 10-year-old girl.
Well, let's say if you had a daughter that was 15.
I'm saving my daughter.
The other children is younger.
No, I'm saving my own
I'm
kids.
saving
I'm
the-
sorry.
Okay,
But
so we have
that's not-
determinations until our own interests
Yeah,
are at stake.
I see.
But if you're talking about the only variable is my daughter versus somebody else's, anybody in the right mind would understand.
It's kids no matter what.
But
though.
It's
based
kids
on-
no matter what. That's my point. So it's either one child dies that I don't know, or a child dies that I do know, and
I'm
it's
gonna say
unfortunate. But I think any normal person in the right mind would probably choose their own kid. And you're talking about some crazy scenarios here, but I think that's realistic.
Okay, so that invalidates your previous answer
How?
because the other children is younger than your child. It's just more valuable
I think
to
you're
you.
just using numbers to like.
I mean, do you not agree that it kind of like, because on the previous
No.
example where you chose to save the children,
There was no relation.
okay, but now you have a personal interest at stake, and that's what makes the difference in your choice.
Talking about like 50
Imagine-
years
so
of
that's-
age difference.
I know, but I say that in relation to imagine being one of those 40,000 people a year that get convicted.
It's
It
still
doesn't matter
terrible.
until it's your own personal choice,
I see.
your own personal interest. It's a complicated topic.
You look so satisfied.
I got
Just you're trying to manipulate your way into
No,
that answer.
I'm just presenting an argument. So yeah.
Very specific, very controlled variable argument.
But it's
You've
crazy
heard about
that
it
you
before.
wouldn't pick your partner.
It's a psychological.
I think I would pick my spouse in that situation though.
I think I'd probably have to choose the child. It sounds terrible, but it's like, oh, that's terrible.
It's tough choices.
It's a child, though.
Tough choices.
It's a child.
Yeah.
But I don't know them. I know my husband.
But at that point, it's like the personal factor has. I feel like that would be.
It's like
Almost
I hope
selfish.
my husband will pick me, in return.
I
I
mean,
would- I
yeah,
would
but
pick
you're
my
just doing that because it's your husband. What about that little girl? Like, what's actually right?
I would pay my respects. I would
I think I would
support
choose
the
the
See a little
family.
girl,
I feel I would support the family in any way I can.
I would choose
but
the
you're
little
pulling
girl.
that low.
But like, not to sound bad, but it's just one instant. Whereas if I lose my spouse, I'm going to carry that over for the rest of my life.
You're also going to have to live with the fact that you let a little girl die
But I think that's,
instead of
to
your partner.
me, I think I can overcome that hardship quicker, in a sense, than my spouse.
I think it's fair. I think it's a fair
I
assessment.
think so too. Yeah.
Because what is valuable to you as a
Right.
person? But, that's why I painted that
What
way.
but then you have to consider what is morally correct as far as the standard for everybody.
I think it's morally correct to choose saving the innocent rather than catching the bad. That's why I made that
so
argument.
this is
Yeah, he
So
did
this
all
is
of
all
that
of
just so
this
he
was
could-
towards that. Yes. Yeah. What is more valuable?
dang. Now see, when we get there, I don't know if I agree.
Okay. Well, until is your interest
Right.
at stake.
Right. I mean, I get it.
This sounds fake, but I would much rather be innocently locked up than somebody who did a terrible crime
No
like that to
way.
be running free.
You would give up your own freedom?
If you're talking about the ratio of
Is what you're saying?
me being locked up versus 5 people going to jail for murdering other people, I would go to jail innocently so those 5 people
Willingly,
could go to
knowingly.
jail because they actually did it wrong. I feel like that's the right. Yes.
You would make that willingly, knowingly?
Yes.
You would give up your freedom?
Yes.
That's
Yeesh.
crazy.
Well, listen, dude,
Props to you.
Yeah, no, that's
Maybe-
you're a
I
bigger
feel like
person.
that is the morally.
'cause
I feel
sure
like that's the right thing to do. You're talking about 5, because again, you're only thinking of your own personal. You're only thinking of your own personal interest in that situation. No, I wouldn't give myself up. They can just go run free. But it's what about all the people that those people affected that they want justice for those people?
So
And
that
it's
means
just you.
you can
It's
go to
just you,
Florida
bro.
next
But
week.
why did you choose your
5 people. That means 5 families get to have justice and comfort and to know that justice has been done for the people that they have lost. Multiple people.
Even though you have no relations to those families.
But why did you choose your own daughter instead of the other? That's someone else's little
Because-
girl, 10 years
because-
old, 5 years younger
Because
than
the
yours.
variable is different. Because the only difference in the variable is my daughter versus somebody else's
You're
daughter.
sacrificing something yourself for the benefit of other people. It's
But
the
it
same
doesn't-
instance of
it
you
doesn't
going to jail
change.
for the benefit of the other families.
In the situation you gave me, it doesn't change because it's still 2 young daughters. It doesn't matter which one I choose. One young child is going to die. It doesn't matter what choice I make. One young child, this is certain, one young child is going to die. Whether it be mine or the other person.
So
it
why are you
doesn't-
choosing yours? Because it's your
Because-
interest.
No,
right?
it doesn't change. I don't think that's a fair point.
Why are you choosing yours then? Why are you moving the lever to kill the other children and save yours? When the relative to the example of the age, the other children, the other little girl, because she's 5 years younger, is more AKA valuable if she has more life to live, even if it's 5 years.
What's your question?
I think
If your daughter is your daughter.
so you said
It's your daughter.
that
But
you-
either way, a young child would die.
yeah, but
So it doesn't make a
why are you
difference on
choosing
who I
yours
choose
and not
because
the other ones?
This the first choice, in the sense that if that's my personal, that's my daughter. I created the daughter, right? I created this child. So it's it's like, what if this wasn't my child and I just had to choose between 2 children that weren't my child? It doesn't make a difference. It really doesn't. But I feel like you're trying to put it on the point that it's personal interest, but I think you're forgetting the point that either way, a young child dies. And
Yeah.
that doesn't change the fact on which one's better or worse. There's no difference on if it's personal interest or not. Still one child dies.
But this is
There's
what
no
I'm
way
asking.
to-
What gives you the agency to choose between them then, if one of them is still gonna die?
You gave me the agency. You gave me the choice.
I mean, you can let the lever. You can that. I mean, that's the whole argument, right? That's the whole situation. You can either choose to move the lever and let things happen, or you can change, aka destiny, and choose who you save. Because it's gonna kill one of them.
Well, either way, you can still choose who you save.
Yeah.
That's
But
what I'm trying
why-
to say is it doesn't make a difference. I just choosing my daughter just because
I
I'm
think
choosing
it
my daughter.
does because you're just. If I was in that situation, don't get me wrong, I would 100% choose my own daughter, but I would also recognize that I am doing this because of my own self-interest and not because I'm acting with altruism with society. You understand
So
what I'm
how do
saying?
you
I'm not
remove-
doing the best decision ever.
So what would you choose if it wasn't your daughter and it was just two girls? Which one would you choose?
I'd rather not choose at all.
You don't get
Oh,
that. You
no,
don't get that.
you don't
See?
get
I would
that.
let. I would. I
You
listen
reverse
to
the
it,
card and then it.
but like
you just
the-
got reverse Uno card.
I am not I am not saying this from the perspective that I am better or this or that.
I know. I'm just presenting
Like,
you
I
with
am
the
still-
same
Cody
psychological.
Kearns
I was
make
still-
an awful decision, but I'm not gonna make that. Oh,
Yeah, it's
y'all bad
crazy.
people.
No,
You're
it's
gonna
just-
kill them. That's crazy. I'm not.
I would choose my spouse too, 100%. But like in the situation, I painted this example to give my reasoning for why I would choose the one innocent life instead of catching the 10, because one innocent life is much more valuable than, grabbing 10, because you are not responsible for whatever.
But for those 5 bad guys killed 5 innocent lives.
How do you know that's gonna happen? That's not on you. That's not blood
So
on your
that
hands.
there's
statistically
5 innocent
statistically crimes get repeated throughout.
lives
I
than
think
1
criminals'
innocent
lives.
life.
Listen, you are only responsible for your own actions. You cannot, if they do something, that's something that they did. You cannot hold yourself accountable to that. I
But
don't
if
think
you
so.
can prevent that, if you have the choice to prevent that, hey, I'm gonna let this lion out of the cage, to get it out of. Okay, there's an innocent guy and a lion in a cage. Are you gonna leave the innocent guy in the cage, or are you gonna get him out? Are you gonna take?
I'm
the
gonna
lion out?
get the guy out. Yeah.
But if you take the lion out, then the lion gets to go and kill a bunch of other guys.
Mm-hmm.
But if you leave the lion in there with the guy just dies. But all these other people outside the cage are safe. What are you doing?
I'm trying to get the guy out of the cage, not the lion out of the cage.
If you open the cage, the lion gets out. It kills all these people. But if you don't open the cage, the innocent guy stays in there with the lion just gets the innocent guy.
You're giving me my same example. Like I'm saying, like
That's what I'm saying. It's
I
just a
don't know
different-
better. I was just giving my reasoning as to why.
But if you answer that question, what would you choose?
Honestly, in that moment, I don't know what I would choose right now.
That's crazy.
Right now, hold on, I'm gonna give you my answer.
Okay, go ahead.
Right now, I think I would open that cage, and whatever happens,
I just
I
told
would
you
be
what would happen,
responsible
though.
though.
Exactly.
I let the lion out.
Exactly.
Good.
And that's the justice system, right? So you're making that decision. That's the justice system.
It's an interesting discussion.
And that's my point.
Well, with that being
I
said,
tried my best.
Yeah.
this is a good debate.
Mhm.
It wasn't supposed to be
interesting.
a debate.
I know, but it turned into a debate.
No, I think we just shared our perspectives.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
nonetheless, I think we can all agree that the justice system is extremely complicated and there's a ton of holes and loops that could be used by the good or the bad.
Yes.
That's But it's like, how do you distinct what we can all also agree on is how do you distinct what the right
What's
thing to
right
do is
from
out of
wrong.
all of our perspectives, who's to
What's
say
the right
you're wrong
choice.
or you're right. But and I also want to say that the most of my answers came from what I believed was like morally right. So it less so of like personal interest,
Except for the last one.
except for the question that you framed specifically for personal interest. But I think everything else was like the morally right thing. And the question that you did do is just, I don't. Think
It's a
that there's-
crazy situation. That would never happen. Hopefully.
Well, thank you for tuning in. Catch us next week for another episode. Thank y'all. Bye, guys. Don't forget to call our office if you need help. We'll definitely help you defend your case. Thank you. Bye, guys. Thank you for watching another episode of Legal Lounge. If you enjoyed this episode, you can always give our office a call to schedule your free 30-minute consultation with one of our team members. Check the description below and give us a call today.